So today might not be the biggest stories, but is definitely bigger than it looks because of the fact that towards the end of the video, we're going to be talking about Dragon Ball and the state of Dragon Ball and how that's looking and when we're going to get new Dragon Ball content. But before we get into that, we have to get into the smaller news stories. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe, and watch the video all the way through. Let's get into it. Microsoft made these really weird but kind of cool controllers. It's an Xbox controller that has Deadpool's butt on it. And everybody's losing their fucking minds because they want this controller. Right now, you can only get them by essentially getting into a raffle. And if you're lucky with the entries that you put in, you might win this controller. And I'm not judging you if you want this controller, but there's going to be like 4 or 5 of these things on the market, which more than likely means these things are going to be like $400 on eBay or more. It's kind of going to be like the popcorn bucket if they don't make enough of them, because I guarantee you those things are going to be on the market if there isn't enough to go around for like $700, because we all know how scalpers are and kind of can't blame them. Got to make some money, man. But people really want these and are actually asking Microsoft to make these. So yeah, while weird and I wouldn't get one, I hope that they make them for you. So Amazon is now selling Fire Sticks with Xbox Game Pass in it, and essentially telling you, why would you need an Xbox when you can just get a Fire Stick connected to the TV and stream all your games through Xbox Game Pass? And they're kind of right, and this goes to the whole thing that I've been saying about Microsoft. You do not need a console to play Xbox, is essentially the ad that Amazon's making, which is the entire problem when it comes to Xbox and what's going on with the kind of identity of Xbox and what they want their business to be. Because on the outside, Phil Spencer makes it look like he wants to concentrate on consoles and he cares about the console market, but when it comes to the moves in the background, they're kind of making it very apparent that they don't give a shit about Xbox consoles anymore. And that's why you see such a conflicting message, and that's why you see such a conflicting message with their games and where they're going to be. This is another example of how Microsoft needs to make its mind up and not play with its consumers, trying to tell them that, we're completely about the console market and we care about you guys, but at the same time, work with Amazon and tell them, hey, you don't need an Xbox. You just need an Amazon Fire Stick, an internet connection, an Xbox Game Pass subscription, and you're good to go. And this is going to be the identity of Microsoft. I can guarantee you that they really don't give a shit about the console anymore. And to be honest with you, most companies who tell you that they give a shit about the console are lying. The reality is that most people want to move on from their hardware. PlayStation more than likely has big plans in the future to try to move away from consoles and try to stream their games. And this is the reality that's going to happen. I don't want it to happen, but this is the reality. The only thing I wish that they would do is that they would tell us directly in our face instead of, you know what, everything's going to be fine. The consoles are going to be there. Don't worry about it. The truth is, they're moving on, and we should be very aware that this is the future that they plan to do. And this is the future that we're allowing them to do, because what other choice are gamers going to have than not buy games? I mean, they've tried to protest so many things. They won't do it here. So one of the smartest moves that anybody's ever done this year is unionizing, and the people who unionize are Bethesda Game Studios. They officially were purchased by Microsoft a couple years ago, and then Microsoft purchased Activision Blizzard. So while they were under the light of the FDA and all the other people that were looking at them for regulation in electronics, Bethesda came out this year and said, well, we want to unionize, and Microsoft kind of had to let them. While they give the appearance of them liking this deal and them embracing this deal of what they wanted like the whole time in order for them to negotiate properly, the truth is Microsoft more than likely doesn't like this, because they're more than likely going to have to pay a lot more money than they're willing to do. Well, I will give credit that Microsoft probably treats their employees a lot better than most electronic companies. The truth is they still treat them like garbage. The union officially came out and made a statement. We, a majority of developers at Bethesda Game Studios, Dallas, Rockville, and Austin, are ecstatic to announce the formation of our union, the group wrote on Twitter. Together as one community, we can advocate for the betterment of every developer at Bethesda Game Studios, setting a new standard for our industry. So obviously they're very excited for it. I'm very happy, and very smart move considering that they're playing a very chess move, because they know that right now, not only do the policy of the American government go against Microsoft in trying to even block this deal, because if they do, they automatically get seen as a union, but at the same time, Microsoft is under the light of the FDA and the entire world to be like, do something, and they weren't going to do something. They reached out for comment for Microsoft, and this is what they said: "We're excited to announce our union at Bethesda Game Studios and join the movement sweeping across the video game industry," senior designer Maddie Parker said at the statement via the press release. "It is clear that every worker can benefit from bringing democracy into the workplace and securing a protected voice on the job. We're thrilled to get down to brass tacks and win a fair contract, proving that our union is a source of real power to positively shape our working conditions, our lives, and the company as a whole." So Microsoft has a big smile on their face, a big smile, trying to say, yes, we agree with all this. We agree with all of this. But in the background are probably pissed off at the fact that they really can't do anything about this, and they have to negotiate with the unions, which really is what every game developer should be doing right now, is trying to unionize and do better in the gaming community. But we'll see what happens. Hopefully this is a spark that will kind of set off the rest of the developers to do something about the entire thing that's going on. And now for our main course and our main story of the day is unfortunately drama filled, and especially kind of heartbreaking if you like Dragon Ball and are waiting for Dragon Ball Super, the manga, or anything to come out besides Daima. You're more than likely going to be heartbroken, because there is a lot of stuff that are going on inside of the infighting after Akira Toriyama's death. But before we get into that, we kind of have to build for what's happened in the past couple of months, or the past year, and how we got here in the first place. So, in my understanding is that people close to Toriyama knew that he was sick and that he more than likely was going to be passing sometimes in the near future. But Akira Toriyama left his works to be in charge by Akito, his editor and his close friend, who Toriyama would literally say something to him and he would go tell the CEO, Suits, and everybody what Akira Toriyama said. So Akito was the middleman, and he was also Akira Toriyama's right-hand man, so he kind of depended on him for everything. And unfortunately, Akira Toriyama, he gave him the rights and said, you can deal with everything that's not dealt with a manga, and Shueisha can deal with everything that is the manga, essentially leaving them in charge and doing whatever they wanted to do with it. But the unfortunate thing is that because Shueisha fired Akito because of the fact that he went independent with Capsule Corporation because of infighting, apparently Akito was kind of pretentious and kind of wanted to do exactly everything that Akira Toriyama wanted to do when it came to his work, to a fault they even thought that he was doing wrong. And I quote, "Without consulting his superiors, Mr. Akio unilaterally decided to adapt Toriyama-sensei's Sandland into a film. His focus was always on serving the author, sometimes to a fault. The anime production company and TV network often criticized him for his condescending attitude revealed on The Insider." So this is kind of something that we've known for a long time. We've known that there has been internal turmoil inside of Shueisha with Akito, and because of his pretentious attitude, they kind of butt heads when it came to the Dragon Ball room, and he resigned in 2022. But in 2023, it all came to a boiling point when Akito, in May of 2023, registered Capsule Corporation Tokyo and went independent. The problem is, Shueisha fired Akito, and now they have kind of two heads that don't know how to communicate with each other. While in Japan, if you are an editor of a certain art or artist, you essentially have agency, an agent. You are an agent of that person. So if that person tells you, but better yet, have a contract that says that you can have the rights to whatever isn't the manga, you kind of have the rights to them, as I know of in Japan. But Shueisha doesn't know how to communicate with Akito, and Akito doesn't know how to communicate with Shueisha. Essentially, what's happening is they're like, fuck you, you work with me. And they're like, no, fuck you, you come over here and work with me. I'm the one that's in charge. He's the one that wanted me in charge. So we unfortunately have a bunch of problems that are going out. And sadly, the family is more than likely going to have to get involved and say, well, we want Shueisha to do this, or we want Akito to do this. I'm hoping that it's Akito, because Akito is kind of the guy that was the right hand of Toriyama. He was the guy who told Toriyama, hey, Broly's super popular, you should make a movie of him. Gohan is super popular, you should make a movie of him. And Piccolo's really popular, you should put him as the main character for once and give him a power upgrade, which was really great. And I love the ideas that he had. And I hope that Akito keeps the rights and his family sides with him. But sadly, the sad news when it comes to this, the more sad news, the cherry on top of sadness, is that we more than likely won't get anything but Daima for the next foreseeable future until this is kind of resolved. And I don't see this being resolved anytime soon. But I understand both sides on this. I get why Shueisha fired Akito as a business move. That it really didn't have the best interests of the company, but only had the best interests for their company and for Akira Toriyama and his works, but not necessarily taking into account how that would affect the company when you 100% go the way of what the artist wants. And what the artist wants isn't always what you're supposed to do, but in this case, I hope that Akito wins, and I hope that it is resolved very quickly. But thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. I can't believe I almost did that in one take. Like, I did like maybe 1 or 2 takes. But it's kind of juicy, and unfortunately, yeah, remember, you're pretty good. Woo! What time is it? 2:49 a.m. all before bedtime. Bitches. I have like 10 minutes before I have to go to bed. Or else I'm like, I'm getting to the point where, like, if I don't sleep at a certain time, it's over for me the next day. I'm just gonna be like the entire day. The entire day I will just be like lagging. I'm getting old, people.